All right, guys, back here on Southeastern 14 with Max Barr. We continue our stroll through SEC basketball transfer land, which there's a lot of people there. And this is the Disney World of transfers here. A lot of people heading to the SEC, including Alijah Martin, who we're going to talk about heading to the Florida Gators.
Oh yeah.
Before we do that, let's tell you about BetOnline, your number one source for all your summer sports this season. From MLB, golf, they have the NBA and NHL playoffs as well. So you can head on over to BetOnline and check out all the latest stats, news, and scores to follow your favorite teams. Plus, get the latest odds and lines, including the team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head over to their website today or use your mobile device to get on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so we're talking about an addition for the Florida Gators, which
Oh
there'll be
yeah.
a couple more. We will discuss if you're a Florida fan, you're new here. We're doing a video on every single transfer that takes place in the SEC this offseason, incoming transfer. So if we've not gotten to a player yet on your team, we will get to him at some point, and we're a little behind. Kentucky and Arkansas are filling full teams over here, so we've
Yeah.
had to bounce back and forth. But we finally get to Alijah Martin, which is good because he is a significant addition for the Gators and the way Todd Golden wants to play. Of course, you're going to remember most people from his Final Four appearance with FAU there a couple seasons ago. He started 86 of his 124 career games. Pretty much an all-league player of the past 3 years in some way, shape, or form. And so, look, this is one where I have a feeling we're going to see a couple FAU players in the SEC, but we won't go too far on that just yet. But yeah, like you talk about what Dusty May was able to accomplish at FAU. Of course, he was a former Florida assistant. Kind of fitting here that one of his former players heads to play for the Gators.
Yeah. This is probably, well, who knows what Todd Golden's up to, but this is a big get for him. This is a big one here, Blake. I feel like he's kind of fallen through the cracks with just how crazy the portal has been. Alijah Martin to Florida is massive. I mean, just go down some of his accolades. He's been all conference for 3 straight years. And you're gonna hear that like a broken record throughout this video. 3 straight years. The consistency this guy has had is unbelievable. It's not just one Final Four run. It has been 3 straight years of high quality play. Two in Conference USA, and then just last year the jump to the American still maintained that level of play. All American second team after getting Conference USA first team that Final Four year. But you probably know what I'm going to start with. And it's been probably one of the number one things we've been talking about with these transfers. Experience. Started 86 games out of 124 career appearances. Here comes that 3 straight years again. At least 13.1 points per game for 3 straight years. What else do you want? Come on. Consistency like I haven't seen it this portal season yet.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, like you said, it's a lot of SEC teams. The clear focus is on experience. And we've seen that just because this is kind of that stage in college basketball where, look, I mean, you have someone who has played as many games and has been as consistent, like you said, 30% or 37% shooter from three. We'll talk about kind of the defensive stuff that he's going to add to the mix, but yeah, he's just someone that I think has played a lot of high level basketball given what FAU has been, over the past couple years specifically. And I think that consistency in those numbers, just to see it, it's pretty outstanding. You'll take that for sure. And he's another guy, I think, Max. We talk about guys who are entering, the SEC and such. Another guy he's gonna fill the stat sheet in multiple areas. Especially, we'll talk about the defensive numbers, but he's also gonna do a lot of things that maybe don't even show up on the stat sheet. But still, he's someone that has done a lot of things really well. And I think that's always the way you build teams. Certainly gonna have some guys come in where they just have one clear strength, and
Right.
this is the one area that you're gonna use them in, and that's gonna be their role in the team. But no, this is one of those guys that, man, he does a lot of things really well, and that's good for Todd Golden because we know how he likes to play in that particular system. So
Yeah, and I'm going to bring up something. I'm going to piggyback right off that. I'm going to bring up this Twitter thread here from Will. Great stuff. If you want a little bit of a comparison to this last year's guard group for Florida and how does Alijah Martin play, well, here you go right here. So check this out. This is a little bit of a graph. I don't know if you can see it all, but red is Pullen, blue is Martin, and yellow is Walter Clayton Jr. And kind of just shows how they play different styles. And I'll make it easy for you. If you come to the fourth graph in right here, it's rebound percentage. Martin in the middle is way up there at 21.4%, and then Pullen and Clayton down there at 12. So you're getting one of the best. I mean, Martin's listed at 6'2", kind of similar. I've been watching so much NBA playoffs. Josh Hart's listed at 6'4". He plays like he's 6'10" with all the rebounds he gets. Martin is a fantastic rebounder for only being 6'2". Fantastic rebounder. And what that does, especially on the defensive end, is now that sparks that Florida fast break. Now there goes Will Richard. There goes Clayton flying down the wings. So that defensive rebounding for Martin, I'm really excited for. But also, here you have assist turnover rate. Martin and Clayton are both negative. Pullen is way up there at 14%. So you're not going to get that ultra elite facilitator, insane assist rate. That's not really Martin's game. And to piggyback off of that, this is pulling between Martin where they score. Just real quick, percentage of shots from three right here. Martin is up at 56% and Pullen down at 22. Why is that? Percentage of shots from 2-point, Pullen way up at 47, Martin down at 11. So basically, just to dumb that down, Martin attacks the rim or he's shooting a three. Whereas Pullen is much more in that facilitator, mid-range, draw the defense, dish out kind of role. Little bit different styles, but I think it can still work here with what Golden's trying to do.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, like you said, it's that sort of tells the story on just kind of how these guys are going to play, and I think that's the most exciting thing. The thing we saw with Florida last year is certainly it was a very appealing style, and I think just again how they're going to play moving forward. Man, I'm like, if you would have crafted like, give me your top 5 options for an Alijah Martin, where does he transfer and all that? Like, I feel like the style that Florida plays, you would have picked 4 other teams close to that, right? Like that would have been teams that are similar. I know Alabama was one of the teams that were trying to get in on him, and so I mean I think that's what's interesting to me is teams like that. Of course, Michigan would make sense because his former coach is there.
Yep.
But yeah, like I think that's really what stands out here, and I just feel like with Florida, I mean, what did we say? The big thing for Florida last year, we had a hard time trusting Florida defensively at times, and that's kind of how the season played out, to where they finished they finished 94th in defensive efficiency, didn't force a lot of turnovers last year, and rebounding wise, the offensive rebounding numbers spoke for themselves because of, how big they were. But I think that was the missing piece, is just finding a team now that you can build around good offensive talent. They were elite there last year, should still be, really, really good again this year, but you've got to fill those defensive gaps, and this is a guy that will do that.
Yeah, just adding on to the defense here. Florida did not have a single player. Their leader in steal rate was Riley Kugel, and his steal rate was 2.5% this last year. Martin's was 3.2. Okay, so he instantly would be the best. I don't know what you want to call that, steal man on Florida, whatever you want to call that, best active hands defensively, whatever you want to categorize it, he would slot right into that. But also his defensive rebound rate I was talking about earlier, his defensive rebound rate was 14.5%. That would be the highest guard on Florida last year either. So you might not get that same style as what Pullen was giving you, but you're gaining a whole lot on that defensive end, that rebounding end as well.
Yep. He is a big asset, I think, for this Florida team. And like we said, we'll see, as we continue to look at the roster and figure out exactly how, it's going to unfold ultimately, because as we know, there are still, pieces that are moving around. And we know one thing for Florida's roster. We know Micah Hand-Logden expected to sit out this upcoming year due to the injury. But, still, again, a lot of things in motion on these rosters. And we'll find out, again, who is – how it fills out completely. But for now, I think this is, you're talking about, we always say, you're bringing in transfers, we're trying to figure out your spot. And you're talking about a starter, someone who's going to come in, he's going to start, he's going to play a lot of minutes. and hopefully give him that same kind of production that he gave FAU to catapult them to a Final Four and career-defining success for Dusty May. Like it just an incredible talent paired with everything else that they had built there at FAU. So Alijah Martin heading to Gainesville to join the Florida Gators, and as we said, we will talk about all the other transfers for the Gators and everyone else here at Southeastern 14. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button on your way out, and a lot of SEC football, baseball stuff as well. So check it all out here on the channel, and more transfers to come. So we will talk to you again here soon at Southeastern 14.